So we got more drama coming out of the FTX debacle. FTX has sued Sam Bankman-Fried's parents, claiming that they accepted $10 million in cash gifts and also a $16 million luxury property in the Bahamas. This is actually not new information. I think we've known this for quite some time. And so it's actually pretty interesting that all of a sudden now we have stuff coming out. What do you guys make of this?
Oh, you missed the best part of the whole story, Pia. The whole story. Turns out SBF's dad was on payroll at FTX with a $2 million salary. And when he only received paychecks that were equivalent to $200K, you know what he did? He CC'd SBF's mom on the email thread and said, "Hey, Sam, like these paychecks, the math isn't mathing. I'm supposed to be making $2 million. So I'm sorry, but I got to CC your mother." And what he did was he CC'd Barbara on the email. So sure enough, no matter how old you get, dude, even sometimes dad will call mom and raise high hell, regardless of what's going down.
Well, that was just an excuse to get the mom on the payroll too. I mean, this is like a gnarly, I just can't believe how egregious Sam Bankman-Fried operated. Nick, what do you make of this?
You reached for a different adjective. I appreciate that move. Switch from gnarly to egregious. So that was a big transition there. I like also the opening statement, though. You were like, this is not new.
It's not.
So
it's literally not new. We've been knowing that the Sam Bankman-Fried parents were on the SBF payroll. I used to make jokes about it, that we should hire my mom to do like random stuff at our business as a joke. Obviously, didn't actually do it the way Sam Bankman-Fried actually did, to the tune of millions.
That said, they were helping him launder money. So I feel like from that standpoint, they were actually providing a pretty solid service.
Yeah, they had an adequate salary, right?
Yeah, primarily because like the way that they set up all the different entities in order to shield the business from taxes, SBF was just following his parents' playbook, and the amount of savings that they had far outweighed, I think, the amount that the parents got paid. So, and at that level, I mean, it is crazy the amount, like $2 million a year. It feels a little bit ludicrous to most people, but when you think about the value provided,
what happened there, Nick? What happened there? You got censored by FTX. You came off screen for a minute, buddy. Go ahead.
I didn't do that. I don't. What happened?
I don't have the ability to do that, even if I wanted to.
That was
Clemente.
crazy.
It was Clemente. Yeah, right, buddy. Clemente's got an agenda, Nick. He's trying to silence you.
He's trying to afford lunch, which seems a little bit ludicrous, dude. Like that's and he did get pissed off at me yesterday about, you know, why don't you pay me enough so that I can afford a sandwich in Williamsburg?
That is what happened.
I'm gonna be honest. Nobody, only SBF's parents can afford a $25 sandwich in Williamsburg. If you go into the one of the places that or Pio enjoyed going, Katz's Deli. How much is the sandwich there? It's like $30.
That's the $30 sandwich, but that's the iconic New York sandwich.
It's really good. It is incredibly tasty, but there's no world in which the $30 makes sense. Like it just doesn't make sense. And ultimately, it's how I've been losing a lot of money recently. Is those sandwiches? So we need to get. My big takeaway from all of this is we deserve to get paid more, but we also need to get better at laundering money.
I was going to say we got to get the parents on the payroll.
Well, you know what was crazy about the I was reading this article, and I didn't know how legit Sam Bankman-Fried's parents were. Like, they both work. They're teachers at Stanford. The mom is like an expert. She's a law professor. The other guy is an expert in the tax department. That's like the dynamic duo you want. That's like perfect for SBF and FTX.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. They're so legit that they're now big-time criminals. So that's pretty interesting that they're all going to jail. That is pretty legit. I will tell you.
His parents aren't going to jail, are they?
They literally extracted a $10 million in cash gifts and $16 million luxury property. Gotta think there might be some penalties.
No, that the whole point there is that's about just claiming money back for FTX. This is just part of the proceedings. So FTX is just trying to get money back everywhere that it was spent in ways that seem ridiculous. I don't know that, like, his parents are not getting in trouble. Just saying straight up, it ain't happening.
Completely agree.
So, yeah. This is
John Ray is just trying to get that cash. They introduced him in the in the hearing. They're like, yeah, we have John Ray here, the new CEO of FTX. He's an expert in bringing back bankrupt businesses. Like, that's just the most insane thing to be an expert at, is just you come in to save the day.
Well, the fact that he was involved with Enron, I think, is
that's
more.
What I was saying. Wasn't he the Enron?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in to clean up Enron. Now he's cleaning up FTX.
Kix actually informed me of that on this show. That's where I learned from it. So thank you for that, Kix, for like actually, educating us during that show many moons ago.
Big fan of Enron.
That was when things first went down. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to discuss the upcoming Legends of Mara game coming out next week. Big news for Yuga Labs. We're going to talk about whether OpenSea is back on top in the NFT marketplace, race, I guess you could say, and the state of Web3 gaming, of course, with Easy and Kix. The other big story we do have to talk about is more backlash for Kevin Rose and the folks over at Moonbirds, are really just directed at Kevin Rose over a recent profile picture change that's going down this morning. A lot of people on Twitter, on X, having a lot to say about that. Real quick, I want to let everybody know that today's show is in partnership with Museum of Mahomes. So we'll have the account from Museum of Mahomes on stage in just a minute. I've invited them to come to the Twitter stage. Museum of Mahomes is pairing the world of digital and physical memorabilia, featuring, of course, NFL quarterback Patrick Mahomes and the moments that have defined his career. So if you don't know who Patrick Mahomes is in American football, he's a big shot. He's basically the number one guy right now. And so this collection has 6 unique packs, each of which feature 5 editions from Steel, Bronze, Sterling, Gold, and Grail. The Grail cards are one of one unique pieces in the collection and feature infused memorabilia and a signature from Patrick himself. Fun fact, collector Rob Goff has actually already put out a $50,000 bounty on one of the one-of-one grails. So it's yet to be pulled, but there's a $50K bounty on that thing already from Rob Goff. So pretty cool stuff. Big name collector. The project dropped in the past week, and the reveal begins very soon, where collectors are going to be able to find out what piece they currently hold. To find out more about the collection, check out at Museum of Mahomes on X right here on Twitter. They'll be on stage in just a minute, and participate in the giveaway that's pinned up top for a chance to win one of the 3 packs. So Clemente has it pinned up top. You'll be able to participate in that giveaway if you follow the instructions there. But before we go any further, we can dive into this weather report. Kix, please take it away.
Oh, shit.
Here he is. He's a little rusty. He's been gone for a couple
at
days.
all. I made some changes over here. I'm ready to go, Coach. Don't worry about me. Today is Tuesday, the 20th of September. Market volume 8.9 million. Blur coming in at 5. OpenSea coming in at 2. FriendTech coming in at 9.8. Just straight cooking. NFT market leaders, Pudgies rallying up to 4.3 ETH. Massive. Machi's DeFi apes, wow, are up 45% to 0.2. After he sweeps 27 of them, bringing his total to 660. He's just going to own the whole collection. He's going to set the price. The grapes, sappy seals, and Kanpai pandas are all up a nice 8 to 10%. Over the past 24 hours, the Nakamigos cloak snapshot was taken just before midnight last night, which will allow holders to mint cloaks for free at 12 p.m. Eastern today. They did not see a huge post-snapshot dip, but they're still down 15% in the last 24 hours. Voting for Mache's $11 million ape coin proposal ends at 9 p.m. today, with 57% of voters in support of the proposal. The vote was split at 50-50 last night after Mogaverse voted against it with 1.8 million ape coin. But then Sandbox voted for it with 500K ApeCoin. I guess Animoca Brands is divided on this. Moonbirds are down 8% to 1.2 ETH after Kevin Rose changed his profile pic to an AI-generated picture and then a chromie squiggle, and then removed Moonbirds from his bio. Kevin explained it's just a big week for Art Blocks. He's an investor. It's just a temporary profile pic change. He'll be back. Don't worry. He likes to rotate profile pics like me. Last but not least, Other Side announced that the Legends of Mara Season 1 beta will finally be coming on September 26th, next Wednesday, and provided a teaser for the highly anticipated trading card game, or is it an idle game? We're not sure, but we're going to find out. There's gameplay and prizes coming up. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Kick. Some updates from the Daily Digest. This is posted to X every morning. It's pinned up top. It's also available via email newsletter. Go to the nifty.com. You need to have an account at the nifty.com to participate in our ecosystem with pack drops and more. First story, we already touched upon this. FTX is suing SBF's parents. We will be diving into that. Next story, Sugartown teased dates for staking reveal mountain goats. I didn't know that mountain goats were going to be part of that one, and cards in their latest tweets. The collection holds a 0.32 ETH floor. This, of course, is the collection by Zynga that dropped for free in the past couple of weeks. Recent analytics found that 64% of FriendTech addresses, so 129,000 addresses, have only bought their own key, while 36%, which is 71,000 total addresses, have bought at least one other key. So a lot of self-serving behavior going on FriendTech. Can't say that it's too surprising. Next story, OpenSea is launching Creator Studio, which gives project creators tools for managing, creating, and analyzing their NFT projects. Igor Letterman from Gabe Layden's.
You skipped over this one. Why did you skip over it? You didn't like it?
Go ahead, Nick.
Artist Defaced 1 of 1 auction is live, immediately receiving a bid. Congratulations. There's one last person willing to bid on art. The auction is live for 2 more days and has a leading bid of 30 ETH. Okay, 30 ETH. Get after it. Defaced is a very popular person. Igor Letterman has basically launched a custodial wallet. Is that the conclusion of this? No gas, no fee. We minted 3 million NFTs today for $100. Well, that's impressive. I actually want to check this out and then destroy him. No. Elon Musk's Neuralink has opened recruitment for human clinical trials. Pio said he signed up, is plugging that right into his brain because he's not a big fan of the fact that like we're just evolved apes. He instead wants to get dope and other advantages for him to succeed in life. Controversial streamer Adin Ross, what is interviewing Kim Jong-Un on
today? Supposedly 7:30 p.m. today. Joe Biden's team has reached out to him not to do it because it could potentially incite nuclear war. We'll see.
What? This is real, huh? It's on Kick.
It's real. It's real. He was on stream yesterday talking about how it's going down and how Biden's team has reached out to his law team not to do this because the risk is a little bit high.
What's the risk?
Inciting nuclear war. Have you ever watched an Adin Ross stream?
Have you ever seen Adin Ross's stream?
I know. I want to hear from Bunny on this. Bunny is a grown 34-year-old man, but he loves the same stuff that high school people love. Do you watch Adin Ross regularly, Bunny?
Nah, not really. I mean, I see some of his clips on the TikTok, right? But I'm not like a huge Adin Ross fan. I mean, this is pretty fucking interesting. I'm not sure he'll start a war.
Is Kick a competitor to Twitch?
Yeah.
The number one competitor, they actually have a much better split. They do a 80-20 fixed split. So that means Twitch, I believe, is 60-40. So streamers on Twitch are, I actually think it's 90-10. They get 90% of all revenue. Kick gets 10%. It was created by Trainwreck, very popular gambling streamer who was banned from Twitch for gambling streams. There's speculation that Kick is also funded by Stake, the gambling site. because they have no rules on Kick. You can basically say whatever you want, as controversial as you want to be, can stream gambling, can stream partial nudity, can basically do whatever the hell you want on it. It's the Wild West of live streaming.
No way.
Interesting.
Trainwreck is the owner? That's
Yeah,
wild.
Trainwreck is the owner. Yeah, so
Who
the
hell is
crazy part,
Trainwreck?
he was the biggest Twitch streamer for a while. He plays like slots on stream. He's won millions and lost millions. Has gone up and down $30 million on just gambling streams. The Adin Ross thing, though, he was like one of the first big signers to Kick. Clemente just showed it on screen, but I think that's actually understated how much he's made. It's closer to $70 million for his contract. And then they signed XQC, who's another huge streamer, gaming streamer, to a $60 million contract. So they're throwing money around left and right, which is not surprising to now see like a Kim Jong-Un on this, because Adin Ross has been paying substantial amounts of money. His stream yesterday also said that they have to pay him in crypto to get him on the stream. So that was really interesting.
They're paying Mr. Kim?
Yes, they are in fact, which was
That's
another conflict of interest from the U.S. government.
I don't think it's even a conflict of interest. I think that you're like violating.
Yeah, that's illegal.
Like
And
financial.
It's
Let's
sponsored by steak in the back. It's like
Yep.
Well, they're calling it
it's-
isn't the interview a movie that was similar, like where
Seth
they,
Rogen and James Franco, in which they went to North Korea to speak to him. Dude, I'm on this, Nick. I'm all over this. I'm white on rice when it comes to this. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to watch the stream tonight at 7:30 p.m. Knowing how Adin Ross streams have gone before, he's going to say something he absolutely should not say. That's extremely controversial, potentially a little fucked up, and we may actually get nuclear warfare as fallout, thanks to a live streamer. It's going to be chaotic.
I mean, it's a brave new world. I mean, this is like a ridiculous story. It's going to get views. Let me tell you that. It's definitely going to get views. We'll see if it actually happens. I don't know if it will. Nick's perspective on this is funny to me. What do you think about this, man, before we move on?
I'm just checking out this site. I see the top streamer on here is Ice Poseidon right now.
Oh
who
my
I guess
god, that guy! Oh my gosh, is the craziest dude ever. He goes like, he's a RuneScape streamer, and then like he like went to become like a reality streamer, like live, like YouTube.
It's called IRL streaming kicks. Please come correct.
Wait,
That guy's just
what noise
absolutely.
does he make?
bonkers.
I'm not. But Kicks can recreate it. I don't know that anyone wants to hear it, but the Ice Poseidon, whatever I see on this page is he's wearing the weirdest outfit ever. He looks ridiculous, but I think that's kind of part of the shtick associated with it. Dude, I have no idea. It seems interesting that they got a new streaming competitor to Twitch. Shout out to them on figuring out this this path. I don't know. It's an interesting. Yeah, there's 10,000 people watching someone play slots. Well, I haven't done.
That's a small stream, by the way. Adin Ross last night had 145,000 people in the live stream. And for context, the sub costs about, I believe it's $5. He has, I want to say, over 2,000 people who sub monthly. On the low side, maybe significantly higher, but I think that's what I saw from his leaderboard yesterday. So that alone is just cash.
Did you guys ever see that movie Nerve with Machine Gun Kelly in it?
No,
It's like
no.
all pretty much coming true. It was basically about like live streamers just like doing crazy stuff to get upvotes, and then it like spins out of control. Good movie. Machine Gun Kelly, not a bad actor in that. But literally, this is happening in real life. Like you've probably seen those live streamers that go around and just like harass people and cause chaos.
I have seen that, and it's pretty ridiculous. And they're just causing chaos and probably breaking the law live on stream. But they figured out like there's enough upside benefit to it. I don't know, man. The whole thing is. I
saw one yesterday of two IRL streamers in Japan, and they both got knocked out in the live stream. They were causing problems, and 2 like residents just absolutely cleaned their clock,
In
knocked them out
Japan?
in Japan. So they were going like crazy.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's some wild IRL stream stuff that happened. It's part of just like the clickbait. Like it used to go from clickbait YouTube titles and controversial statements to now clickbait IRL events. Yeah, this was the stream. Clemente has it pulled up. They were just bothering these people, telling them not to touch them. The guy just turns around and punches them in the face, knocks them clean out.
Good.
Well, was that that looked like a tourist that hit them though?
No,
Yeah, it
no,
wasn't.
That's probably he was probably sick of their shit, dude. You hear people like cheering in the background after he does it.
Okay, well, the fact that you both saw this makes me feel like this is like world star hip hop.
It is. This is like the new kind of world star hip hop for sure. Inciting a riot's only a class A misdemeanor, by the way. I'd probably bump
not that
that
serious.
felony in the world we live in.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's not that serious. Kai Cenat just got the misdemeanor in New York. Well, that was an IRL stream. Took over, I want to say it was Union Square.
Yeah, it was Union Square, yeah.
Caused absolute chaos. They were destroying cop cars. So like the world of streaming, like streamers are becoming the modern day celebrities, like 100%. They're the ones that like Adin Ross, he lives in Miami. He travels with police anytime he leaves his house because he gets swatted so much. So he hosted a boxing event, I want to say 2 days ago. And what happened was he actually had to travel to the event with police so that the gym would not get swatted. And that if there was a SWAT attempt on it, they had police on site just to like tell them not to pull up and everything was fine. And then obviously like the traditional live stream situation, people ordered like 400 pizzas of Papa John's to the gym. You know, like that's just what they do. People love to cause chaos. But the IRL streams right now are like mainstream as far as like these internet celebrities. Like there's Streamy Awards that just happened 2 months ago. It's pretty crazy to see like the shift.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, swatting is when people are trying to cause mayhem for a streamer and they call in a threat, like an actual threat, like to 911. So
Thanks,
a
Grandpa.
SWAT team. Sorry, Nick.
I said thanks, Grandpa, for that. For informing us what swatting is.
There's no way that everybody in the audience knows what swatting is. So I just wanted to clear it up.
If you didn't know what swatting was, shoot me a DM if you're on Twitter and you had no idea until Pio explained it. I'll give you a free NFT that's rare. Okay.
You don't check your DMs.
Well, I'm actually not giving you anything actually, because now I'm just going to get random DMs. So screw that.
Clemente just said I didn't know. So Clemente didn't know, and Clemente's 24 years old. So I don't want to hear it.
Clemente didn't know?
I'm not a big streamer guy. I don't watch live streams.
Clemente's way too cool for that.
Okay, well.
I thought that was when they bring out the SWAT team.
Okay, so there's a couple people that didn't know.
Right.
That's
just
shocking.
telling you. Just telling you.
Miguel Ribeiro.
He's saying Miguel Ribeiro's name with a little bit of flavor. Anyway, Nick, you were about to say something. I was going to dive into Kevin Rose. Were you going to say something first?
No, you can dive into him.
So we're diving into the Kevin Rose story. So look, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit more drama in the Moonbirds camp. I guess the single source of this, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, the source of this is singularly that he changed his profile picture, I guess at first to his face, which in Web3 is a big no-no, I guess. You know, God forbid you change your profile picture to your face. Removed Moonbirds from his Twitter profile, right? This is while Moonbirds have been declining in price. Now he has since, I guess, changed his profile picture to a squiggle. People are saying that's because of the Marfa Week event that's happening in Texas for art blocks. Art blocks, of course, being one of the kind of blue chip fine art, generative art collections. Looks like Kevin has changed it back to a very rare Moonbird with a tweet that says, I changed my PFP from time to time. It will be a Moonbird again, but this week is a big week for art blocks, Marfa Gathering, and they're an investor, so he's rocking a squiggle. Probably a lot of outrage over nothing. The source of the outrage has to be the decline in price for Moonbirds. Kicks, you're sporting a Moonbird right now on stage, and you have been for quite some time.
I'm actually changing it back to my Pudgy Penguin.
Okay.
I'm like Kevin Rose. I like to rotate my PFPs. You know what I mean? It's like if you have 3 nice cars that you own, like you only drive one. No, you're like, oh, today's a nice day. Take out the convertible, drop down. You know, you're going out Saturday. You can go to the grocery store, souped up SUV. You take that out. You know what I mean? So I don't mind changing your profile pic right? Like I think that's fine. And I'm not gonna. I don't like to judge people too much for their stuff, but I thought it was interesting he removed Moonbirds from his bio. I thought that was more interesting than switching around the PFP, because it used to say like proof, Moonbirds, like something else, and now it just says proof. I thought that was interesting.
Well, I can't ever put my punk back at this point because
no, that's what I'm
literally
saying. You can change your PFPs like whatever you want. You know what I mean? I don't think people are going to care so much if you change your PFP, but if you remove the like at Nifty portal from your bio, I think like people would kind of be
but
like,
he
"What's
still
going on?"
has at proof on there, which Moonbirds is part of, which to me seems like it's much ado about nothing. The bigger Twitter story here is BitBoy asking for donations on a pretty weakly pitched like video. The video is like awful. He still raised like $27,000 or something. Sorry, when I checked last night, Ben, I don't know what he's at right now. I'm gonna go check the situation, but he like randomly ended up making like I don't know, his whole situation is ridiculous. It's like we're supposed to feel sorry for him now. He went from like being the champion and he deleted the tweet with the address.
Well,
Is
I
that
mean,
gone?
it's right in your face, dude.
What? What do you mean?
It was
on
on the
this literal
screen.
tweet.
Oh, sorry. I was on Twitter looking at
Oh,
it.
you're good on the little tweet.
He's at $57,000.
I mean, I think we all know his downfall. I mean, if you want to point to when his downfall actually started, it's probably when he was mixing steroids and caffeine pills. I think just neurologically, that's going to create some weird outcomes. But it was when he did that whole Ben token thing, when he like bought the Ben token from Ben or whatever. Like as soon as that shit was going down, I'm just like, this guy is out there, you know, like he's going a little erratic. I'm not sure exactly how the inside politics worked, right? You generally have to have like controlling interest in a company to remove someone, right? And if he sold enough shares in this that he no longer had controlling interest, well, I mean, you played the game. It would be more interesting if they removed him, because there are some clauses a lot of times in LLCs and stuff like that, that if someone is like, I forget it, but like, you know, breach of fiduciary duty or like acting. Basically, if someone starts acting absolutely insane, even if they have controlling interest of a company, you can kind of like remove them. But I think you have to go through the court of law to do that. I think you kind of have to have like a judge to validate it. Like, okay, this dude is confirmed batshit crazy.
So, well, what I mean, they also could just not let him into the office. There's a lot of things that could happen before the court.
Yeah, but if
gets
you're on the
involved,
lease and you have a controlling interest, you can just change the laws.
call the police or something. Yeah, well, it sounds like he made some bad business deals. The other thing is, did he delete all of his tweets? I don't understand. Like his account is in a weird space because he's also down to 5,000 followers. Am I looking at the wrong account?
It's a new account.
It's
check
at Ben Armstrong and then SX. So it's Ben Armstrong's X. And
Yeah.
he's at 31,000 followers.
Oh, this is Ben Armstrong.
You checking out Ben Armstrong, Nick? What are you doing?
No, but is that
Okay.
Ben Armstrong's ex, like his ex-girlfriend?
No, it's his X account.
Gotcha. His
Twitter
last name
renamed
is
to X, Skip.
Armstrongs. I'm curious where the S is coming from.
It's like apostrophe S.
Well, yeah, you can't put
X
the
account,
apostrophe
dude.
in the handle.
Gotcha.
Got
Yeah,
it
that's
now,
why it's
Kicks?
important. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why apostrophes are important. It makes sense now, because I thought it was like Ben Armstrong sex.
Thank you for that, Kicks. Thank you for that contribution. Yeah, I mean, look, his saga has been pretty wild. No one talks about this. Literally, no one talks about this. But a short few months ago, he was launching the Ben token with Ben.eth, which I think had generated, how much was generated? Like, Ben.eth had like $60 million or something, 20 million, $30 million. No one talks about that.
Yeah, what did that have to do with, I feel like that was completely separate from BitBoy Crypto. Dude still got a huge house that he's living in. And like, I'm just
In
like.
the video, he's asking for donations. He's wearing a Rolex. In the video, he has a fat Rolex on his wrist. It's like, dude, sell the Rolex. There you go. You got a little bit of at least a day or two for a retainer to start figuring shit out. What are you doing?
No, the worst part about this whole thing, man, is he didn't create the token. He made no money on the Ben token. He bought the Ben token at the top. Like, imagine someone launching like the Nick token, and then Nick's like, "Oh my god, dude, this is the biggest thing ever," and you go buy the liability of that token for like $2 million.
So real quick,
an erratic business move.
I just want to correct. It's not in this video where he's asking for it that he's wearing the Rolex, Easy.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's the video. It's his most recent. It's his last YouTube video, and the thumbnail of his most recent YouTube video, he has a Rolex on.
Is that an Illuminati reference he's doing right there?
He probably still has the watch. I mean, look, it's a ridiculous situation all the way around. I also don't think he bought the Ben token at the top, because I remember he posted a chart that was like, this is where I got involved. Like, you know, when people have the chart and they put the arrow, like, you know, right here with his little.
That. But he did buy the actual token, like the ownership, I mean, of it.
But, oh, okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember. And no one talks about Ben.eth anymore, by the way. Just ran off with like $25 million. A random guy from like Denver or wherever he was from just ran off with like.
Okay. You got to have some respect for him. He's in the arena, man.
He's still retweeting. Ben.eth sent him 5 ETH, sent Ben Armstrong 5 ETH. And then held a space, come beg for ETH.
These guys, man, this is like disturbing.
Society mentally can't handle technology, how it's accelerating. Society can't handle, like, where people are just going schizophrenic.
It is pretty gnarly. And yeah, only 600 people, which I find hard to believe, went into a Ben.eth space where he said beg him for ETH. I feel like that actually would do quite well, knowing what I know about some Twitter spaces. Bunny has his hand raised. Bunny, something to contribute here?
Yeah, he should just make a friend tech, right?
Oh, yeah, I saw you actually tweet that at BitBoy. Why doesn't he just make a friend tech?
He doesn't know about it. He'll find out about it like 2 months from now.
I mean, dude, that whole situation is ridiculous.
Sometimes you just got to pray for these people.
I sent him an ETH.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, you had to, dude. That was just like part of the culture. You know what I'm saying? You got to support this guy, and the legal fund, which he makes up at the end of the video for like, it's not clear. He's like, you know, the court of law is going to end up determining. That's always his line. Like, he used that during SBF. What, like, some of the stuff around, like, you know, man, wait till you find out some of the people who were behind the scenes, you know, moving the money associated with this. Wait till you find out and it comes out in court. Man, the stuff that I'm hearing, man, this is gonna blow up, you know, what's going on in the crypto space. And a lot of people are going to be exposed as a result of it. I'm not privy, you know, I'm not allowed to talk about it right now and share, you know, the people who are involved with this scam. But all I can say is there are some big people behind this. That was like kind of the thing that he was saying. This is the same bullshit. This guy is just a professional liar. That's literally his like job at this point in time. So is Ben.eth. So is all those people. Like, they're all just professional fucking con men. And the space loves it. Like,
so I have a quick question, because I was not around for the last bear market. But was it this much of a dumpster fire, or it's just like things are falling apart? Like, what is
There was nobody on Twitter. If you said the word crypto, you basically just got blocked and unfollowed. Like, it was a totally different beast. No one was able to grift millions of dollars through send money to this wallet address. Like, dude, last bear market, there was just nobody around. Was the craziest part. And now you're in the situation here where it's like all these people are able to pull millions and millions of dollars just by simply saying send money here, or saying I need it for a legal fund, or I'm going to do all this cool shit after I get multiple millions of dollars, after I do some very messed up things and questionable activity in my free time. And by the way, I still have my Lamborghini, my $1 million house, and my Rolex, but I need a couple dollars for a retainer for a lawyer. It's pretty crazy to see, in my opinion, what's actually happening in this bear market, because grifters can still grift. And last cycle, it was like, you didn't even have scam bots on Twitter last cycle, because even the bots were ashamed to say the word crypto.
Well, as weird as it is to say, it's actually an indicator of the space progressing and getting bigger. You know what I mean? So if last time there was just no one on crypto Twitter, but now there actually are people, and not only that, you can get people that bought like the you get nothing token, if you remember, where literally the message was you're not going to get anything, but
wasn't
that
even
raised...
a token. That was the worst part.
Oh.
Wasn't even a token. There was never a token for you get nothing. There was actually nothing given. Like, this person managed to pull over $1 million from a thing that said you will get nothing. And people just speculated that that would happen. So, like, clearly there's still money on the sidelines, which is the craziest part to me. Because like I said, last cycle, dude, there was nothing. Like, there was actually nothing to get and nothing to give. There was just nobody. It was a barren wasteland where, like, you see those macro charts where it's like the depression phase. That was depression. Because, like, it was so sad to even, like, there was no one to even talk to. And now there's still thousands of people who want to speculate on things and have money to blow on speculation in the crypto casino of this bear market. Dude, this bear is filled with entertainment. I'll say that much. Like, at least we're here having a good time.
Well, look, the original BitBoy account was started February 7th, 2018. It has 206. No, you're good.
That's where I'm at. Can we get a therapist on this show? Can we get someone to come on to talk with us about dealing with depression and so the social media addiction that crypto Twitter has? Because like it's getting unhealthy out there.
What I will say is that the Discover Crypto channel, which is the former BitBoy crypto channel, 263 million views built during the previous bear market. February 2018 was when it actually started. And yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I know it feels weird to say that we're actually in a better place now than we were at that time because of, some of these shenanigans that are going on. At the end of the day, it is an indicator that the space is bigger than it ever has been from an overall, like, kind of baseline perspective. Obviously, there's the expansion, contraction, white hot space, blow off top, people come in and then people leave. But at the end of the day, if we're getting higher lows in terms of participation and activity, that's just the trajectory that this stuff is on. And obviously there's a pattern that's, it can be a little bit volatile or a lot of bit volatile. But at the end of the day, higher lows, right? Higher lows. If we dive into the NFT market, I'd say the most significant new event that's happening in the next 24 hours is the Nakamigos cloaks are coming in. These were the ones that caused a lot of volatility in the Nakamigos ecosystem because it was announced that these were going to have a price attached to them. I believe it was like something like 0.05 ETH for a collection of 20,000. People were disappointed at that. They nixed that. I think it was actually all done on purpose to create volatility on the collection because this was something that was always based on royalties. Other stories that Lil Pudgies are actually up 20% in the last week. Pudgy Penguins kind of separating a little bit. You're seeing tweets from Luca Netz about Bape and Supreme and his kind of world tour of meeting with streetwear brands. Lil Pudgies have really lagged historically behind the big Pudgies. Maybe it's because of the art, maybe it's because of something else, but you see a little bit of action there. Easy. Any thoughts on where we're at in the market? We got captains at 3 ETH, potatoes at 1 ETH. Or Nick, go ahead.
Real quick. You said, is OpenSea coming back to be number one? Where was that coming from?
I said that. I mean, we can break that down. I'm very much in the department of at least I think OpenSea is the new leader. I was looking at some of the stats. OpenSea had twice the amount of unique traders in the last week, and they're continuing to ship
overall. They 2x or 2x Blur.
2x Blur. Sorry. Yeah. So they had
that's been a continued trend for a couple months though. If you look at it, like they've almost historically always had a higher unique user count and a higher total number of sales, which is like interesting because like there's a couple things there that I like. I'm not looking at monetary value, but number of sales, the total transactions that occur is usually actually higher on OpenSea with unique users as well. And that's not surprising to me because it's much like any marketplace. Like you could go direct to a website from an Amazon product, find the actual product, and potentially actually save money. But the ease of using Amazon tends to lead to you to use that. Whereas OpenSea is like the first thing people think of when it comes to buying an NFT. versus Blur, which is significantly more trader focused. The volume on Blur still significantly outweighs OpenSea, but I still think that over time, the majority of consumers will still prefer to use OpenSea, friendlier UI, simpler to just click, etc. The power users are the ones that benefit from utilizing Blur. Of course, like those that do a little bit of shopping and spend time to research can typically find opportunities on Blur. But as far as like the market right now, I'm like basically entirely focused on this gaming shift that's happening. And it's really these 0.05 and under to free mint prices for games. You have a project called Get Block Games, hasn't minted yet. I believe it mints tomorrow. Free mint 5555 supply. It's a launcher for Web3 games. So by launcher, what that is it's like a Steam or Epic Games Store that's entirely focused on it. They've teased rollouts in product stack backed by Google and some others, doxed founders, which is really interesting to see. But it seems like we're leaning much heavier into the gaming side of things, especially on the free mint, well-capitalized, VC-funded. We've already seen Zynga run with that method. And now Zynga's even said that they're going to bring back some historic games for Web3 that are reskinned, which I don't know how I feel about that. I'm very 50-50. Just because, like, if Web 2 didn't play them, what's going to make Web 3 unless there's some, like, play-to-earn mechanic? But you look at, like, Grapes, another VC-funded, Animoca-backed, two mobile games out now that has a growing user base and just launched their pre-sale for the Grape token raffle for people that can actually apply for it, even non-holders. So you're seeing this ramp across the board where I'm leaning more into looking at those things and those catalysts because there's a lot on the horizon. You just watched I forget the full name of it. It's like Go-Go Kart Kaboom or something like that. It's like a Mario Kart version. So hear me out on this.
Go Kart.
I forget the full name, dude. It's a gaming project, free mint. It went to over an ETH was the thing though. Like for context, free mint to over 1 ETH. Like that's a winner in this space. Absolutely. Like that's an absolute banger. Games live, VC funded though. So you have this track record of these projects that are continuing to show that they're getting funding from outside, launching in Web3, but not capitalizing on initial revenue from a Web3 mint, doing a free mint, heavily whitelist focused to just not get botted and give it to a wide audience, which to me is like the right path. Like that's where I keep seeing things where I'm like, this makes a lot of sense when it comes to this method because people feel more comfortable. And then if a game launches, it's also like the sell pressure is not as heavy because their cost basis is zero. Like that is another interesting mechanic when it comes to actual trading perspective. Is a lot of these people, especially with like Zynga, are comfortable not selling even at these prices because they'd rather see what this billion-dollar company is going to roll out. And maybe then we see sell pressure if it fumbles. But right now, there's no cost basis. I think the gas was optimized. It cost me like $4 to mint mine. So I was like, this is like for $4, dude, I don't care if it goes to zero. I'm more excited to see the game because I've enjoyed playing some of these games. Like truthfully have enjoyed it. I've played Midnight Heist. Huge fan of what Kix is doing. I've played all these other games. I love trying them. I've been a huge fan of Rec League. That was one where I was like, you guys fumbled. They didn't sell out their mint because it was 500 ape coin with ape coin at like, or 200 ape coin with ape at like $2. So it was like it was a pretty expensive mint. So they didn't sell out. And now basically they're just giving away the prizes where I look at that and I'm like, as Enway, you're well funded. If you drop this as a free mint, heavily whitelist focused, I think this thing would have cooked significantly harder versus the bad taste in people's mouth they had for the mint price. So you're seeing this shift, and that's where I think the market continues to trend, at least for now. When the bull comes back, people will pay whatever. Like you look at Stoner Cats, they released for $800 and gas was $800. So you're paying 2x out the gate for that, for example, just because it was peak bull market. There's a lot of things in like the data standpoint is showing that there's still money on the sidelines, like significant capital that people are happy to deploy and spend for the right things. But it feels like the space is getting smarter in this cycle. And I apologize for the tangent, but I spent a lot of time looking at this stuff and it feels that the market is definitely progressing towards a smarter viewpoint where they looked at Grapes and Animoca, saw the market cap, then saw Zynga at $1 billion and were like, this feels like a no-brainer to take a swing here. I'll deploy at 0.1, you know? So it's been fun to watch from the sidelines on some of this stuff and just watch how people are moving.
Zynga, definitely one of the biggest W's that's happened recently. And I see Bunny has his hand raised. I want to hear from Bunny in a moment. Also hear from Kix on the gaming front. Real quick, want to take another moment to thank the partners for today's show, Museum of Mahomes. You've probably already heard of this project because they've been, definitely making some waves in the NFT space. Museum of Mahomes is a revolutionary digital collectibles project by none other than NFL superstar Patrick Mahomes. Collectors can choose between owning the digital or physical memorabilia. So leaning into collectibles here, ladies and gentlemen, this is a collectible space and can reveal their exhibits better known as, also known as like PAX at the end of the week. There's already a $50,000 bounty. I talked about this before. There is a $50,000 bounty on the 1-of-1 Grail from the champion exhibit. And it's actually from sports memorabilia collector Rob Goff, big name in sports memorabilia. So already he's got a $50K bounty out there. If somebody pulls this card, you got a buyer in Rob Goff. This is one of the 6 1-of-1 Grails in the collection. So obviously you don't want to miss your chance to win. You can learn more about the hunt for the Grails at museumofmahomes.com or Museum of Mahomes on X right here on Twitter. There's some bugs with Twitter right now with X, and we can't get the account on stage, but Clemente will pin a tweet if he hasn't already that has a link to the X account for Museum of Mahomes. It's easy to find. You'll be able to find it. Really excited to talk to the team there in just a few minutes. Buddy, you have your hand raised. What's going on, buddy?
Okay, yeah, so Easy just missed on the race. It's Cart Party. Yeah, he just missed on that one. Dude, that, like, I know it's impressive because it's at like almost 1 ETH and it was free, but there's like less than 700 NFTs. Right? There's probably zero chance any of us were minting it, and it's relatively illiquid. Like, there hasn't been a sale in a day, and there's only been a few sales over the last few days.
Well, Easy definitely threw in a few extra words. I was going to say, go, Cart Party. It's just Cart Party. But anyway, Easy, go ahead.
His name's better. I would
Yeah,
be more likely to
hire me for marketing, bro. We could have gotten go Cart Kaboom, and that shit would have slapped. But a 700 supply at 1 ETH too, dude. Like a 700 ETH market cap is not too shabby for a free mint. Like, that's what I look at more so. And to me, that's a win. Even like you say that there's low liquidity, that's fine. The fact that there's even liquidity over 0.9 for this from a free mint is wild. And yeah, sure, like it's low supply, but I was talking to, I forget who previously about this, and I was like, I'm surprised more of these projects aren't doing like segmented releases. And what I mean by that is like quarterly releases where they can drop 2,000 every 3 months. And that's the thing where I think like you could actually see some interest. And yeah, in those 2 months you'll have sell pressure, but at the same time, if the project's doing well, then it's going to get people interested and eager to participate, where you could actually start to charge for those second tier mints and actually start to capitalize on it, where the first grouping and the first release is free. 3 months later, you drop a paid version if the game's live and people are playing it and interested, and then continue that method and actually start capitalizing on both fronts, knowing as long as you're transparent up front. I just think we're going to see projects try interesting mechanics going to this market cycle where it's at right now. And when one of them hits, all it takes is for one to work to see a bunch of people latch on and try the same method.
Yeah, and those methods are being figured out. When we had Raul Paul on the show, I think he just had a really kind of like sober comment that was something to the effect of, we're all figuring out what the mechanics are, what the business models are that are going to work in the space. And it couldn't be more, it couldn't be said better. At the end of the day, when you look at the whole crypto ecosystem, you see Coinbase, a publicly traded company. You see Bitcoin mining companies that are publicly traded. Other than that, you have a bunch of decentralized exchanges. So that's in line with Coinbase. Those are exchange businesses. You have some NFT marketplaces. I don't think anybody's saying, an NFT marketplace is not a viable business. I think everybody's kind of like, yeah, that's a business. You make money when people trade NFTs. But, beyond that, everybody's trying to figure it out. Everyone's trying to push things forward and trying to do stuff that gets the attention of everybody. Gaming is a huge sector, or at least everyone believes that it's a huge sector. And I think the way things are playing out point to it being a huge sector. Kix, you are, for people that don't know, Kix is the CEO of a venture-funded gaming entity in the NFT space. Like, from your perspective, what does the landscape look like right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you really teed it up well, that a lot of people believe gaming is going to be a massive part of the blockchain story. Some of it in regards to NFTs and some of it just in regards to the blockchain in general, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be an NFT to be a blockchain game. But if you look at 2021, like the two biggest successes were Axie Infinity, right? Major success, massive success, still huge to this day. Zed Run was really big earlier on. They may have kind of fumbled the bag a little bit, but I mean, they got like 25 million or 20 million from A16Z. I mean, they were a big deal in 2021, right?
Very early too. Very early.
And then when we got towards like the end of 2021, when we got in almost the mania phase of crypto in general, we saw some other projects do fairly well. But truly, since Axie Infinity, we haven't had like the massive winner, we have some things that are shaping up like they could be. Parallel, right? Definitely is looking strong right now, but hasn't had the breakout success of Axie Infinity. So I think there's so many people that are super bullish on gaming and Web3 in general, but we're all kind of waiting for that next Axie Infinity, right? Or maybe not even to the Axie Infinity level individually, but a couple of games combined getting to that level. And we are seeing some projects that do have the potential of getting there. But I think what Raul Paul said and what you said is so true, which is that not enough people appreciate how early we are in figuring out how these different things work. Tokenomics, how NFTs should be properly integrated, how much data should be on chain, things like that, right? And so, I mean, back in 2021, we thought the Axie Infinity AXS SLP double token model was like the gaming model, right? And paid mints was the gaming model. And right now we see there's a ton of free mints, and people are rotating a lot of the mints from being like the gated access to the game to instead being like a founder's pass, or, you know, it gets you some of this stuff. So when you layer that with the fact that gaming goes in cycles, it takes longer to develop, right? So like gaming trends come in more like 2 or 3 year cycles instead of 1 or 2 year cycles. A lot of the learnings that everybody got from 2021 have been applied, but still probably aren't coming out the door until like 2024, right? And all of the learnings that we're going to get from then, you know, aren't going to really be massively improved on until like 2027. So like we have to be patient, right? Like we have to be patient in terms of these things being figured out. That's why when a lot of people talk about like friend tech and they're like, oh, this is wrong with it, or that's wrong with it, or like it's not going to work because of this, I'm like, it's been out for a month and a half. Like,
Yep.
you know, like how many people faded Tesla at the beginning because they're like, oh, look how expensive it was to make this car. It cost them $250,000. There's no way
they fade it now, Kicks. They fade it now, man. Not gonna make it.
Yeah, if you always look at things based on like where they're at currently, like, right? Like Pio, you bought Tesla way earlier than a lot of people, right? Because you saw the vision, right? That's like one of the big
I really just bought it because I thought the price was going to go up. Now I see the vision. But when I bought it at first, I thought the price was going up.
Okay, it doesn't matter, right? You were right.
Real quick. So on that front, a couple things. Then we're going to talk to our partners for today, Museum of Mahomes. Really excited for that, to talk about collectibles in the space, which we absolutely love talking about because we think it's a very, I mean, we make collectibles too. It's a very natural, progression of the space. So on the friend tech thing that you brought up, I totally agree with you, Kix. I think the biggest fear is that people fear that perhaps the people that are making friend tech, like most people that have built in the space, if you look at it from a percentage standpoint, are building something that might have a short to medium term vision versus a long term vision, not because of any indicator that has come from the folks that are building it, but just because of the sample size of things that have been built in the space over the past few years, right? Like it hasn't been the norm to try to build something really big and take it public like Brian Armstrong did with Coinbase, right? So that's, I think, the fear there. But on the gaming front, with what you said, I want to get your take on this. You're saying people thought maybe a paid mint was the way to start, but now we're thinking about in-game assets. Now we're thinking about free mints. We don't know which way it's going to go. There's a book that just came out. It's by Lynn Alden. It's called Broken Money. It's a 3-part book. The first two, Clemente can pull it up. The first 2 sections of the book are just on the history of money. The third section is about Bitcoin, right? So I am bringing up a Bitcoin thing. However, there's actually an example in the book about Diablo, which I'm sure a lot of people in the audience have played the Diablo game.
Real
Kix,
money exchange or something.
Well, Kix, you've played Diablo. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Huge Diablo fan.
Okay. So my understanding, I've never played Diablo, but my understanding is that, and this is what Lynn writes in the book, is that the developers of Diablo, they made an in-game currency for Diablo. Maybe it's Diablo 2. I don't know which Diablo it is, right?
Probably.
However, the players decided through natural market dynamics, over time, it evolved that the in-game currency that the Diablo developers decided was the in-game currency for the game actually wasn't the best currency, and another asset in the game that wasn't intended to be currency became the currency. It's almost like the US government gives you dollars and you say, actually, I'm going to use this other thing. So it's amazing how markets will decide what actually is the best approach. I thought that was fascinating. I think it applies to what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think the asset that you're talking about is the Stone of Jordan.
Okay.
And it was it's super rare item essentially, right? And so basically people in Diablo 2 decided that was the store of value versus like the actual currency. And it makes sense in gaming because usually gaming currencies are heavily inflationary, right? Like if you bought a bunch of WoW gold at the launch of World of Warcraft, you'd be down like 99.9999999%, right? Because like in order, just like in real life, a lot of times in order to make like the economy just has a naturally inflationary base currency, but then that means that's the transaction, but not the store of value. And everyone moves to the store of value, to the rare things that can't just be heavily printed. So Stone of Jordan.
Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, don't say Kix doesn't know his video games. We got the tweet pulled up. Lynn Alden said the Diablo 2 Stone of Jordan ring case study is in an article right here. We have it pulled up on the YouTube. Maybe Clemente can pin the tweet, just for people to be able to reference later. But yeah, the Stone of Jordan rings emerged as more useful money in the popular game Diablo 2 than the game's intended currency. The in-game intended currency that the developers made, the players decided wasn't the ideal currency and something else was. I thought that was fascinating. And I think that's just how this stuff is going to play out. Kix, go ahead.
100%. And I mean, I also think that like when it comes to gaming, it's been really interesting that a lot of like, we're almost going back to innovations that like Web 2 games came out with and then like pulled out. So like Diablo 2 had a real money auction to it. Not a lot of people know that, but like it wasn't just like trading digital, like it had a real money auction. So there was real money flowing into the trading of it. I think they eventually pulled that out because they didn't like the effects of it, right? And then everyone talks about metaverses these days. Second Life was around in like 2008. It was around in the great financial crisis. People were losing their jobs and going and making a full-time living in Second Life. They literally had an on-ramp and an off-ramp of digital currency in 2008, right? So a lot of these things that we're trying to do with blockchain gaming have been done before. It's just for whatever reason, the traditional game studios have kind of abandoned those models. So I think we're going to see more and more interesting things. And I love the Stone of Jordan reference because I think a lot of what it's going to take for us to succeed from like the builder standpoint and the community standpoint is to be able to be flexible and rotate into these kind of things, right? And not be like stuck in your ways, right? Else you have to like take that player feedback, right? And like incorporate it into like the directions that we're going. Like fun fact about Midnight Heist, there's no NFTs in the game other than cosmetics. Like there's cosmetic NFTs, but you don't need to buy an NFT to play it. It's not an NFT based game. It's a blockchain based game. And a lot of that is just the learnings from like when you gate access to your game based on an asset, and that asset has fixed supply, you create these wild, volatile you have one person that got into the game for $20. You have another person that got into the game for $200. How are you supposed to create fun outcomes for both of those people, right? So that's a big learning that we had from 2021 and 2022. And we got to just keep applying those things. And some things are going to work out and some things aren't going to work out. But I mean, I think it's still the area that I'm the most excited for, like truly. But I still think that like the worst thing we can do for blockchain gaming is to try to force it to be the big thing before it's ready to be the big thing. Because then what you're going to do is you're just going to get a bunch of speculation mania into these things that really aren't built for it, right? And then we're going to have good outcomes, bad outcomes. So we just got to be patient. It's going to take time.
Absolutely. Don't get stuck in your ways. If you were stuck in your ways, you would have missed Ethereum, like because you were stuck in the Bitcoin ways. If you were a DeFi guy stuck in your ways, you would have missed NFTs. I mean, there's so many examples across industries. You know, hip hop was like a revolutionary type of music. And then now the original hip hop people don't like the new hip hop people. They say it's not hip hop. You know, don't get stuck in your ways. Someone that's not stuck in their ways is Patrick Mahomes. People said, you can't do all that on the field. You can't run. You can't pass. You can't do, straight up bombs if you're a mobile quarterback. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we got our partner, Museum of Mahomes, an official collectibles collection with Patrick Mahomes, the NFL star quarterback, superstar quarterback, multiple time Super Bowl champion. We have Sean from the team. We're really excited about this. We love talking collectibles, and we got some official Patrick Mahomes collectibles right here. Sean, thank you for coming to the show. We're really excited about this.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So obviously we've talked a little bit about Museum of Mahomes. The physical redemptions are definitely super duper interesting. I think a lot of people have gotten a lot of it, paid a lot of attention to Rob Goff's $50,000 bounty, this open bounty for one of the grails. But I'd love to hear from you, Sean, as somebody on the team, what do people need to know about this collection? How should people think about it? Could you fill us in?
Yeah, so this collection, this isn't something new. This isn't something that we, put together real quick and, we're just putting it out in the bear market. This is something that Patrick and I have been working on for 2 years. We had released the Museum of Mahomes 1 in 2021 on St. Patrick's Day. I think he was the first athlete to ever release his own NFT and did incredibly well. And basically since 2 months after we released the first one, we've been building this right now.
Incredible. So years in the making here. And, we talked about the different, packs known as exhibits, in line with the theme of the Museum of Mahomes. If someone's interested in this collection and wants to learn more about the different options, I guess what would be the options that people have in terms of these packs, these exhibits?
Yeah, so I think everything that you need to know in terms of the rarity tiers, in terms of the exhibits, which, as you said, are packs, each one of them commemorating a season that Patrick has played so far. He's only played 6 seasons, which is pretty incredible. The way to look at this project, it is an NFT project, but it's really a sports card collection on blockchain. It is completely phygital. Any NFT that is purchased is redeemable with a physical card. It's a burn to redeem. And we gave people the option of buying the physical, where it's automatically burnt from chain and you just get the physical in the mail, or you can buy the NFT and you could be a part of the community. You can see how the rest of this unfolds. It's a first of its kind concept with sports cards.
Absolutely. And we have it pulled up on the YouTube stream. If anyone's watching on YouTube, you can see the website for the project and the different collections that are listed there. Sean, we'd love to hear about, how the collectibles actually work from a physical point of view, because I know that you just touched upon that phygital concept and how that's deeply integrated into this. Can you kind of explain a little bit more about the physical perspective associated with this collection?
Yeah, so the entire project was meant to be a physical collection. Obviously, there is a massive Web3 component in terms of minting it. When you go on the museumofmahomes.com, everything is randomized. You don't know which card you're going to get from which exhibit. So it's completely random. And inside, once the collection reveals, which is this Friday, you'll know which pack, which exhibit that you have. Then, just like the traditional card world, you have to open your pack to see which card that you have. It's then up to you if you want to keep the NFT or if you want to claim the physical. The cards are beautiful. Patrick is the first athlete to basically make his own sports card. And there's a lot of controversy happening right now in the traditional card world, where you have the two giants, the two leaders of that industry. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of claims of fraud, of memorabilia that is actually inside of the cards, not having anything to do with the player that it's associated with. That is not the case here. You have the athlete himself saying, "Hey, this is my stuff. I put it inside of my cards and I'm autographing a bunch of them." Also, just one cool point on this, which I didn't know until recently. Patrick hasn't autographed any sports cards since 2020, 2021. So it's a pretty cool offering.
Absolutely. I did not know that either, that Patrick's been very strategic with his likeness, it sounds like, by not autographing everything. If you listen to podcasts with professional athletes, a big thing that has kind of become a trend over the past, call it half decade, maybe even a decade, is, ownership of your brand, because for the longest time, athletes couldn't really do that. So it's fantastic to see, the progression of that kind of idea, and someone like Patrick, huge star. I didn't realize he'd only been in the NFL for 6 years, 2 Super Bowl wins in 6 years. That's wild. That I did not even process that, but yeah, I just Googled it. He's only 28 years old, which is insane. It feels like he's been in the league forever. So someone asked about the grading of the cards. They're graded by SGC, which is one of the biggest names in card grading in the United States. Sean, can you talk a little bit about the grading process and what made you go with SGC?
Yeah. And first off, when it comes to that grading process, this is really interesting, and it's an interesting thing for Web3. Say you guys wanted to start a card company or make cards for your brand. They wouldn't grade them. It's kind of like getting a liquor license and starting a bar. They just don't give them out. They're very, very selective, and there's only a handful of companies that they actually grade. So the fact that they're willing to grade a digital collectibles NFT project, that really is like a huge step forward for Web3. Obviously, that's possible because our partner is Patrick Mahomes. But that's a big thing, authenticating it in the real world. That's huge. So we decided to go with SGC for a bunch of reasons. We met with all of the grading companies. Everyone was interested in doing it, but SGC really got the vision, and they were like, not only do we love this, they're the same company that graded the most expensive card in history, which was the Mickey Mantle, that sold for almost $13 million, which was bought and sold by Rob Go, the guy who put this bounty out. But SGC said, hey, we love this. We think this is the future of collectibles, and we're going to do it for free. So they said, like, anybody who purchases a Museum of Mahomes collectible, they can send it in, and we're going to grade it complimentary. So that was really the deciding factor, because it's one thing to say, yeah, we think this is cool, and we're happy to give you guys a grading. It's another thing to say, yeah, we love this, and we're going to do it for free.
Absolutely. I mean, that's fascinating. And, a lot of people that participate in the space don't know about some of that behind the scenes stuff and the relationships you have to start with these vendors that have a place in our industry, in our business, because they offer services that are applicable, but they don't know about Web3, or they haven't had Web3 clients. So we met with a vendor, for example, that we were the first Web3 client that they had. It's a big name vendor from, just the legacy business world, been around for 100 years. And it's really important to give those vendors a positive experience. So I'm sure that, having Patrick as an, official owner of this organization was a huge step forward, and probably opened their eyes to be like, oh, wow, this is super legit. If Patrick Mahomes is not only putting his name on it, but, that it's his thing, it's his project, that's a really big deal. I'd love to know why you guys ended up leveraging blockchain technology, why you elected to go this route versus doing only physical cards, and why the phygital integration was decided on.
Yeah. So when we did the Museum of Mahomes 1, we wanted to do a similar experience. There was a huge phygital component to that. We had done some limited editions for a jewel encrusted helmet and a jewel encrusted football. And anybody who purchased that got a physical helmet signed by Patrick or a physical ball signed by Patrick. At the time, Patrick was in a sports card deal, so we couldn't make cards for the open editions. But this was kind of always the route. And, my company, Dom, we also did M&M. And when we did Eminem's project, we wanted to go the phygital route as well. So if anybody was here in 2021, when we did the drop on Nifty Gateway, we made action figures, and the goal was to put out, tangible action figures with those. So we've always believed that the phygital route is really the way. Even from early collecting on my side with Top Shot and later seeing Tom Brady launch Autograph, I always assumed that it would eventually, they would eventually make sports cards. And they didn't. And, we saw Lane, and what better to do it than with Patrick Mahomes. And one little fun fact, in the last 8 to 10 months, we've dove deep into the card collecting community and card breaking community. And I found out that Patrick Mahomes is actually the most collectible contemporary player on the planet. So that's a cool little thing, and this is, it's in our backyard. This is a Web3 project.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I do remember that Eminem drop. And I remember as a kid, Eminem action figures being in places like Newberry Comics. So it's very natural to do that and lean into that. Also, we were talking about gaming before. There's several verticals that you can go in with this Web3 stuff. And we were talking about gaming. Collectibles, absolutely is one. It just has to be. The NFTs are digital collectibles, so it only makes sense to go in that direction. So it's great to see an NFL player actually taking ownership of his likeness and moving forward with that. Also, can't say I'm surprised that he's, one of the top, if not the top sports cards to collect, given he's only been in the league for 6 years, has 2 Super Bowls. I'm assuming that's speculation on his future legacy. He's only 28 years old. So much upside. People probably think there could be 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls, and that would make the value of the cards go through the roof. Look, I want to talk about the different exhibits. We have 5 different rarity tiers: the steel, bronze, sterling, gold, and the one of ones. What's the difference in rarity for each of these? How does the supply work out? And if we could talk a little bit about the one of ones, especially given that bounty, I think people would find that very interesting.
Yeah, and speaking of that bounty, so I can't say for sure why they put a bounty out on that one card, but I'm going to assume that it was just the first one that we showcased. So we put out an image. Patrick had tweeted an image of him holding this Grail card, and it has these 2 headbands infused inside of it from him, commemorating the 2020 Super Bowl victory and last year's Super Bowl victory. But there's 6 Grail cards in total. There's one Grail card for each exhibit that we have. I don't think that one that has the bounty on it, I don't even think that's the coolest one. We have his rookie pack, which has his college jersey and an NFL jersey infused inside of it. It's kind of like a double logo man card, so to speak. I think that one's awesome. The 2020 Grail has an actual ticket from the Super Bowl that year that he signed that's infused inside of the card. We have some really cool stuff with it, like stuff that you just don't see in sports cards, or probably things that they wish they could put inside of sports cards. And they're just beautiful. And then in terms of the rarity tiers, as I said, we have the one of one Grails, we have the golds, the gold editions. There's only 15 in each pack, in each exhibit, should I say. Then we have the sterling edition, which is named after his daughter. There's the bronze edition, which is named after his son. And then the most common card is the steel card, which is named after his dog. So it's really cool stuff. You could see everything on the museumofmahomes.com. If you go to the exhibits section of the site, you could scroll through and see each option for each of the packs. It's just a really interesting concept.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, today's show in partnership with Museum of Mahomes. You just heard museumofmahomes.com, the Twitter account, the X account, at Museum of Mahomes. Very easy to find. I believe Clemente has a pin to the top. Clemente actually wanted to ask Sean a question. Clemente, what's your question for Sean?
Yeah, Sean, I love everything you've been talking about. I mean, you look at the website and everything you guys have put into it. You can tell that this wasn't something that was rushed, right? And I heard you say that I think you guys have been working on this since 2 months after you launched Museum of Mahomes 1 in March of 2021. In the 2 years that you and Patrick have been working on building this, I'm curious for you, what's been like the biggest learning moment or the hardest part in putting this together, given the fact that it's something so new and innovative, and we're all trying to kind of progress the collectible space in this digital world that we're all operating in. So I'm curious to share what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a long journey on this project. And, you know, Patrick, I got to give it to him. You know, he put in so much time on this project with us. I would say the two biggest hurdles of this project, once we did the Museum of Mahomes 1, and we started ideating on Museum 2, we said, all right, let's make physical cards. It sounds great in theory, but to do that right, that took a lot of time. Just sourcing, you know, finding the right manufacturing, packaging, how to make a card. Because we realized this was the first of its kind, and we didn't want to, you know, just make a card quickly and say like, okay, here, we did it. It's the first ever. We looked at the card industry and we said, all right, this is an industry that really hasn't been challenged in 100 years. Nothing has disrupted it. There's been little to no innovation. The cards look cooler, but not much else has changed. And we kind of looked at this as Uber to taxi cabs. And just finding that process and making a beautiful sports card, that took a long time. And then the second part of that is Patrick's schedule. So, I mean, as involved as Patrick has been in this process, I mean, countless calls, countless, you know, creative ideation together, photo shoots, video shoots, signings, all of this. When you look at this man's schedule, this guy is a machine. He goes to the training. He's at 3 different trainers. This guy has summer league, and when he's not in summer league, he's, you know, if you guys watch football on Sundays, the guy's in every commercial, you know, during any NFL game. And then on top of it, he just turned 28 years old on Sunday. He's only, up until that, he was 27, and he has 2 babies at home. So trying to massage all of that at one time, that's a difficult thing. But I think the product that we built here is beautiful, and I'm really excited for it. And I hope that in years to come, it's appreciated more and more.
Well, we're excited too. You know, any closing thoughts that people should know? Obviously, museumofmahomes.com is the website. We have a tweet pinned with the Twitter account, the X account. Just wondering, anything else people should know? Any call to action that maybe we missed?
So the reveals for the cards will be this Friday. At that point in time, you'll be able to mint and open your pack and immediately see what you have. The sale is live now. We also have a gift shop of the museum, which is also equally as compelling. We have signature memorabilia, limited edition that we have made. We've made jerseys, footballs, card cases, helmets, etc. From the Museum of Mahomes. They're sick. Black on black jerseys with scannable tech. That we had a lot of help from G Money and 90cc on. I had worked with those guys during iteration 01 and 02. I loved the scannable tech that they had inside of that, and we've done some of that with the Museum of Mahomes. And the entire gift shop will be burn to redeem as well. We have some card upgrades later in the future, which 100% just came from being an NFT collector myself. Mutant serums and a lot of DNA from other projects. We've tried to harvest the best bits and infuse it inside of a sports card company. I mean, if you're in this audience and you haven't checked it out, go to the museumofmahomes.com. Just give it a look. It's definitely interesting.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining the show, Sean. One more big shout out to today's partner, Museum of Mahomes. That is the Patrick Mahomes, one of the top players, if not literally the top player in the National Football League here in the United States, the NFL. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go to museumofmahomes.com to check out today's partner. And if it's your first time listening, we do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Also available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. All the information for today's partner and and today's show is pinned to the top of the Twitter space. We've also had it on screen on the YouTube show. Thanks for listening, everyone. We will be back tomorrow. We hope you enjoy.